What's up, y'all? I am back for another video. Today we are reviewing Action Jackson. I remember watching this. I was a kid because this had been a little. Because I was like, "Oh, this fucking Apollo Creed," and Dylan for Predator, in his own like action movie, and it's been a while since I've seen this, and man, is it fun! It's cheesy as fuck, very 80s. Probably objectively not good, but it is a fun one. Hell, there's a lot of Predator people in it. You have Bill Duke. He's in a lot of movies. You got Billy from Predator. Like he's another kind of Predator. This is like a year after Predator, so it makes sense. But basically, the premise is Jackson. His nickname's Action Jackson. Um, he was demoted after an incident involving he beat up a perp too violently, so he was demoted. Um, so he gets framed for while this goes on. Like there's a bunch of murders going on and assassins, but it turns out it's I think the villain's name is, I'll just say his last name. I don't, to be honest. Delaplane. And there's Sharon Stone who's in it. She's not in it long. But she's, for the little bit she's in it, she's ends up getting killed. But Delaplane plans to frame Action Jackson for his murder. Um, and basically, it's almost so like he's framed for his wife's murder, and because they have these group called the Invisible Men. They're like these group of assassins, and one of them basically looks like Jackson, and the whole point is to frame him for the murder, and you know, and basically, him and Ash, who's basically like it's like in a way I guess somewhat like a mistress to Delaplane. So, but she knows too much, so he has to try to kill her too. So it's like it has a lot going for it. Yes, very cheesy, and I'm gonna title the video this. How do you like your? He shoots a guy before his like barbecue. How do you like your ribs? And shoots him with the rocket launcher. It's shit like that. The soundtrack is 80s as fuck. The plot's out there. There's even a scene where before Jackson's about to get beat up, Ash kind of bails him out and says he's like this crazy preacher, and fucking Jackson goes into preacher mode. It is one of the funniest scenes. It's like genuinely funny. It was like, yeah, it's typical 80s action. Like the villain's like he's just a bad guy. That's it. Which sometimes, like I said, I'm okay with that in these kind of movies. Um, Watching this is like, again, I'm like, because I tweeted this a couple days ago. I was like, I really kind of wanted more Carl Weathers solo action movies. I think he could have done it, but I don't know if this just didn't do well. I mean, it was '88, so it's the same year as Die Hard, so maybe that's what it's one of those things. It just got overshadowed by Die Hard. So, 'cause I think Rainbow 3 maybe it was also '88 or it was '89. One of those. So if it was '88, then yeah, that's another one. So it's just too many movies. It probably just got overshadowed. But it's a fun little movie. It's nothing amazing or anything. But I actually thought the connection between Jackson and Ash was pretty good. I think Carl Weathers kills it. I really think he showcased his charisma. He showed he could be a good lead. I liked his partner. There's a guy named Albert who these are basically in D, who's a former boxer. Basically, these are the only few allies that Jackson has. So, because basically all the and Biff's in it. I didn't actually even remember that Biff, the actor plays Biff's in this movie, as like he's a comedy act. Like he's just there to be basically he's Biff but as a cop. It's fucking great. Um, so yeah, I definitely recommend this movie. It's not. It's like I said, it's nothing special. I mean, when I mean special, it's not amazing or don't expect like Shakespeare. Just it's a fun little action movie for like an hour and a half. You get to see Carl Weathers be a badass, and actually, I think the fight between him and Delaplane in the end, like when it got to like hand to hand, was pretty fun. So overall, I love this movie. So out of 10, I'd probably give it a 7 objectively. Um, But yeah, like it knows what it is. The soundtrack's awesome. But yeah, that's all I can really say. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing the Equalizer 2, which I can't wait. I'm already hearing from people who've already seen Equalizer 3 that Equalizer 3, some people are saying is the best one. It has a Western feel to it. So that could be amazing. So can't wait to see that. But Equalizer 2 tomorrow. I don't really remember this one. I remember liking it. It's just because, like, I'll be honest, a little bit since I watched it on Raw when it came out, and that was forever ago. So can't wait to see that one. But yeah, so that's my plan. And then Friday I'm gonna do the first Punisher or the Thomas Jane one, which I cannot wait to watch again. So that's my plan for the next few days. But let's get into Action Jackson. Prologue opens. This guy gets basically murdered by the invisible men. They like start murdering several bunch of people. This is also where we're introduced to Jackson, and his boss, Detective Armbuster. I know it's a very 80s name, but I love it. And he starts looking into these murders, and this is where he starts looking into Delaplane, who basically he's the one who's been secretly using these invisible men. And has I actually like that scene with Jackson when he's at the Delaplane's like party, and very Bond like, because Jackson's in his suit. It has that little feel, he confronting the villain. This is where we first see Sheridan Stone as Delaplane's wife. Everything seems fine, like normal, but then Delaplane's plan basically goes into fruition, because this is where he kills. Like, the movie just goes like pretty much, like a lot of these 80s action movies are. They're only an hour and a half. They get going quick pretty much. So yeah, so Delaplane murders his wife and decides to start framing. Well, actually, no. Before this, we have a big kind of fun chase scene between Jackson and one of the Invisible Men that looks like him, and you get a fun little chase scene. Jackson crashes the one of the man's car, but he manages to get away. Fun little action scene. This is then Delaplane murders his wife, and then this is where he basically starts framing. It was Jackson, one of the invisible. I guess I'll call him like the main Invisible Man. Is basically the point is he's supposed to look like Jackson. And this is where Jackson starts getting help from Ash, who basically works for I guess like in a way is like his mistress for Delaplane. But then, obviously she starts discovering the plot, so she starts helping. And I actually think she's a genuinely good singer. Like, she really, like, when she does sing, it actually sounds like a legit song. Like, I can see this playing on the radio at this time. Like, the music's very good, I'll admit, I'm not, like, into pop like that, but it has, like, I don't know, I like something about 80s pop, I'll admit. I do like. But yeah, so they get together, and basically, now Jackson has to be on the run because now he's framed for murder, and basically they make the Delaplane makes the evidence look like it was Jackson and all this, and then they plan on doing more murders to frame Jackson, do this whole thing. I think one of the things I like about movies like this, don't get me wrong, like I said, I'm okay with villains always having a backstory sometimes, but I like this guy's just bad. Because sometimes, like, with these kind of movies, you don't need to get into that. We don't need to know why he's bad. He's just bad to be bad. That's how a lot of these villains are. They're just terrorists, or they're, robbers, thieves, murderers. This guy's just a murderer who wants to, basically, I guess, is kind of power, essentially. But also, wants to get rid of get Jackson off his back, because they plan on basically, they want to get him and basically kill him. So for a little bit, we get a couple of scenes, them getting away. The scene I was talking about, because throughout this film, Jackson only has help from a couple of people. These are like fellow cops from back when he was like head in charge, and that scene, like I was telling you, where Ash basically bails out Jackson, because Jackson goes to like a bar and asks for some information, but then because they think he's a cop. Basically, this group of guys like kidnap him, and I remember the one dude from I can't think of the movie. It'll come to me, or I'll probably say it another day. It'll come to me later, because I'm like, I recognize. I'll just say that I recognize that dude. But anyway, so they're about to kill Jackson, but then Ash bails him on and says, "This is like my basically retarded brother." Who goes, and then he starts going on about it was hilarious. I'm not gonna lie, I was dying when Jackson switched up like that. And then he beats him up. Then they manage to get away, but then they're supposed to have a meeting, but it turns out the meeting was basically a trap, and this is where they capture both Jackson and Ash. And Delaplane basically, kind of explains his plans to him. That classic villain thing. The plan is they're going to kill Jackson. They're going to burn him, make it look like he died in a car accident getting away, because they're going to murder some senator, and they're going to make it look like Jackson did it. But they're also going to kill Ash, and even I love that Delaplane. He basically implied he's gonna rape her. That's the word we use. So like that's a villain. Like I kind of miss villains like that. Like that just did evil shit. You could say it's cartoony. People will try to say that, but villains like that work because it's simple. He's just a bad dude. That's it. He just wants power, nothing more, nothing less. But then Dee and I think Albert is the one of the other guy who's help him break out. Jackson break out, and then this is where Jackson kills one of Delaplane's main men, and this is where we get the line, "Barbecue, how do you like your ribs?" And then kills them with a rocket launcher. It's fucking great. And then like this movie isn't gory necessarily. I mean, it's 80s action, so it's not gonna be like just a shitload of blood. But that scene, like when he rocket launches dude is just like on fire, falling on fire through like a built for like glass. It's great. So Jackson gets to the mansion, gets to Delaplane's mansion. Delaplane to the world is just this rich kind of entrepreneur type guy. But then Jackson shows up. Oh, before that, throughout the film, there are these cops going after Jackson. One of them is Biff. I'll just call him Biff. I actually think he was genuinely funny in this movie, even though for like the little couple of scenes he's in, I thought he was great. Same with Bill Duke. Oh yeah, there's also a fight where Jackson fights basically, I'll just say it's Billy. You might recognize him as Billy from Predator. He's also in 48 Hours, but I more know him as Billy, and it's kind of great that they casted him. Like, him and Bill Duke, so they got two Predator alumni in this movie, basically. So, the cops show up, they go after Jackson initially, but Jackson manages to kill, that main invisible man, one of the invisible men that looks like him, and then he kills the rest of them, and then confronts, Delaplane. And then, they have some words, and then Jackson, instead of shooting him, decides, we get a fist fight between the two, because earlier in the film, you see Delaplane, fighting, and he has, his martial arts training, so they show that he's actually skilled in fighting, which I actually like. That's just, little things like that. That's, they don't go on some long diatribe, oh, no, this is why he knows martial arts. No, they just show you he does. So we get a kind of cool fight between the two. Pretty good. And Delaplane was beating his ass for a little bit, if I'm being honest. was taking it at Jackson. But yeah, Jackson ends up getting the upper hand. Delaplane tries to go for a gun. Jackson gets the gun, basically has another gun, and then yeah, ends up killing Delaplane. And then we get a little funny back and forth between him and Armbuster. Armbuster, like, you gotta have the report in my office in the morning. And Jackson, like, in the morning. It was so funny. It was like, this movie's genuinely funny, but it also, like, the action's fun. I actually thought him and Ash, for, like, the obligatory kind of romantic interest, she was actually, her and him had some genuine chemistry. Like, they felt like an actual couple. It didn't feel forced, like, putting them together. It felt natural. Oh, probably should have mentioned the reason Sharon Stone was murdered is because she was going to Jackson, and I thought she was good for the little role she had. She wasn't in it long, but so yeah, her and Jackson and Ash share a kiss, and movie ends. So fun little flick, man. It's simple. It's actually pretty funny. Action's good. Typical 80s cheese, and I love it. I'm gonna say it. I thought Carl Weathers really showed he could be an action star. Unfortunately, I'm assuming it just didn't do well, and that's probably why. But it's like, like, he really showed he could do it. Like, I thought he was a badass in this movie. He had the one-liners. Oh, I should have said, but the one scene where basically Jackson discovered how it happened is Robert Davi. Robert Davi is in this movie. He's like one of those actors. He's in like a million fucking movies. Same with Bill Duke. Where I'm like, dude, Die Hard, Goonies, fucking, he's in like a bunch of shit. Bill Duke is kind of the same thing. Commando, Predator, fucking Menace to Society. It's like, dude's in a lot. So, but Davi specifically, he's in like 80s action. Like 80s action, just 80s in general. So, but I liked him in this movie, even though, he ends up getting killed. But yeah, like, fun little cast. Even Biff was funny in this, even though he is a minor role. But yeah, overall though, I love this movie. 7 out of 10. I definitely would watch. It's one of those, like, if I want to just put it on, I would. Even just to listen to the soundtrack. The soundtrack's really good. Ash is a decent character. It's like for the love interest. Obviously you gotta have your love interest for these kind of movies, but it worked. So that's pretty much all I could say. Fun little action movie. It knows what it is. Carl Weathers, I really wish he got more, because he really shined, I thought, in this movie. Like, he showed he was like, he could be a lead. But Delaplane was a decent bad guy. Like he wasn't amazing or anything, but like, he's not up there with like the Hans Grubers, but he's a little bad guy for this. Like, you did kind of want him to get his. Like, you wanted him to get his comeuppance. He finally does. So that alone makes it a good movie. So overall, liked it. So tomorrow, Equalizer 2. But that's about it. Yeah, guys. Equalizer 2, I remember really liking it. Hopefully it sticks, since I've only watched it once. But yeah. But I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Alright, y'all. Peace.